All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to 12.2. We're going to talk about measures of central tendency. A lot of these you have heard of, but haven't really experienced here. The first thing we want to talk about is this idea of sigma. Okay. And this is basically a summation symbol for us. Okay, so when you see a summation sign, that means that you want to go ahead and add all those things together. Okay. The mean of a sample is something we call x bar. Okay. And so the mean is we go ahead and we sum all of our x's. Okay, and then divide and we get our x bar. Okay. If we are, this is only for samples. So this is mean of samples. Okay. If we're talking about populations, we use mu. Okay. And this is for population mean. Okay, ran out of room there. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at mean. So the formula we're going to use for mean, okay, is going to be the sum of all of our x's divided by the number of items. Most of you know this as an average, right? If you want to figure out your grade and nothing's weighted, you can add your test scores, divide by the number of tests. That's the whole idea behind this, okay? So if we go ahead and look at the graph on example 1, okay, you have to figure out the numbers here, okay? So they give you percentages rather than numbers, and that's totally okay, all right? And we're looking at inventiveness can be learned or inherited, okay? And so we have different percentages, and we want to figure out if we agree that it's inherited, okay? So our percents are 8, 16, 16, 20, 22, 23, 23, 23, 25, and 25. I believe that's all of them. Okay, which gives me a total when I add them together of 201. Okay, now the number of countries that they surveyed, number is usually denoted by n, is going to be 10. So my mean for this particular sample is going to be 201 divided by 10. Okay, and they want this, remember these were percents, so we got to include them as percents, is 20.1%. Okay, so 20.1% of the 10 countries surveyed believe that inventiveness is inherited. Okay, and then you have one with just number values. For example, 2, I'll let you go ahead and do that one. But all we're doing is adding all the things together and then dividing by the number of things, the same as you would figure out an average. Right? Now if we're going to look at a frequency distribution, it's right on the same lines. Okay? All right. So our mean for frequency distribution, which is our x bar, is going to be slightly different. We have the sum of x frequency, so the frequency of our x's, okay, over the number of items. Okay, so we're taking each of these numbers we get and multiplying it by the frequency. All right, so if we go ahead and look at example 3, all right, I have scores, which they tell you are your x's, and then your frequency, which is your f, okay, And I'm just going to go ahead and write the data down really quick because it's short. Okay. The first thing I want to figure out is my n. Okay. So if I look at my n, what is my n? Okay. My n, when I count my frequencies, is 12. Okay. So what I want to do is take each of these and multiply them out and add. Okay, and so that means I'm taking the 30 times 3 plus 33 times 4 plus 40 times 4 plus 50 times 1. Okay, and that gives me a total of 432. And then to find my x bar, I go ahead and take my 432, divide it by 12, right, which gives me 36. Okay, so it's the same idea for both of these items, except that we go ahead and we have to take into account when we have a frequency, a number of that thing happening, we have to multiply it by that number. Other than that, it is the exact same thing. Okay? Another thing we're going to look at now is something called a median. Okay? And all the median is the middle. Okay? So it's the middlemost number of your data set. Okay? Usually we have to organize it in order to find the median. So we want to organize our numbers from smallest to largest. Okay, we usually have to go ahead and do it ourselves. Okay, if our data set values are odd numbers, not odd numbers themselves, but there's an odd number of data points, let's say 9 data points or 7 data points, okay, then that middle number will be your median, because there'll be one number that's exactly in the middle. If you have an even number of data points, 6, 12, whatever, okay, then we have to go ahead and divide it by 2. Okay, so we're going to take our 2 middle data points, whatever they are, and divide them by 2. Okay, and I'm going to look at example 5. I'm going to do both of those for you. So I have 28, 42, 40, 25, and 35. Now the first thing I need to do is organize it. I need to go ahead and put it in order from smallest to largest. So 25 is my smallest number. Then 28, then 35, then 40, and then 42. Okay, now I have 5 data points here. Okay, so my middlemost number is going to be my median, which would be my 35. Okay, so my median is going to be 35. If I look at the other set I have 72, 61, 85, 93, 79, and 87. Okay, so again, I got to go ahead and organize them. I've already gone ahead and did that. I have 61, 72, 79, 85, 87, and 93. Okay, so here I have 6 data points. Okay, so I want to go ahead and look at my 2 middle ones, which are 79 and 85. Okay, I want to go ahead and add those together and go ahead and divide them by 2, right, which gives me 82. Okay, so even though 82 was not a physical number we have, my median is 82. Okay, so what you get when you do the division may not be a data value that you already possess. Okay, and same thing goes if you have frequencies. Okay, let's look at frequencies and median. Right, and let's look at example 7. Okay, and I have x's and I have frequencies. I'm not going to write these out because there's a lot of them. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to find out my middle. Okay, by the number of items you have. You don't necessarily want to go ahead and write them all out. So look at your frequencies and look and get that number n. Okay, so if I look at all my frequencies, I add them together, I get 18. Okay, 18's an even number. Okay, so I want to find the middle of this. All right, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. And so I need to look at the frequency of 9 and 10. Okay, so find your first one and then pick the next data point. So values of 9 and 10. If I look on there, my frequencies are for 9 is 54. And my frequency isn't the same. The next frequency up is 10 and it's 55. Okay, so my data points, they could be the same data point. Your frequencies could be both there. That's totally okay. In this case, 1 sits in 54, number 9, and 10 sits at 55. Right? And then I'm going to go ahead and divide those by 2. And in this case, I get 54.5. Okay? So for frequency tables, you got to figure out first your n. Divided by 2 to get your first frequency point, and then you're going to pick the second frequency point after that. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and talk to me, and we're going to finish off this in the next video.